Hey everybody, Dave Kudrak here. Wanted to talk a little bit about steps to take if you want to start gigging as a musician. I've been playing paid gigs for about 2 years. I know that's probably not super long in the grand scheme of things. There are other musicians out there who've been doing it a lot longer than I have. But my little career as a musician ramped up pretty quickly. And I wanted to pass on some of these things to maybe help you if you're interested in getting paying gigs and starting at least a part-time professional musician career. Number one is to just start. What do I mean by just start? I don't mean just like go out there and try to book a paying gig. What I mean is if you don't have experience playing 3-hour gigs in front of an audience, then go to open mics. Use those open mics to learn new songs. Try to play new songs at every open mic that you do so you can build your catalog. Because if you're going to be a gigging musician, you need 3 hours worth of music, which translates to anywhere between like 35 and 40 songs, depending on if you take a break during those 3 hours. Go to open mics, work out the bugs, work out the stage fright, right? I mean, you're still going to be nervous, but, get used to playing in front of people. And then once you've been through the open mic scene, then go ahead and try to book those gigs. I do have another video advice on how to book gigs if you need help with that. I'll put a link below to it. Number two, be professional. I know that sounds silly. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I'm professional. No, I've come across a few people in my 2 years of gigging that are just not professional, right? Sometimes they drink too much and they're trashed on stage, and it just makes for a bad experience for everybody. And it can pretty much guarantee you that you're never going to get booked at that place again. These owners, they talk to each other. So if you are unprofessional, that owner is going to tell all of his owner friends, hey, don't book this guy because he's an asshole. Along the same lines as being professional, you're not a rock star, right? You're there to do a job, and you're there to please the people in the restaurant or bar or brewery or winery or whatever. So number three, don't think of it as like a big party, right? Even if you have a handful of friends that are coming to your gig and they're like, yeah, you're awesome, and let me buy you a drink, and let's do shots. Don't do any of that crap, right? Sure, have 1 or 2 drinks as long as you can handle it, right? But it's not a party. You're there to do a job. The next tip I would say, once you start gigging, you have to promote. You have to promote yourself. You have to promote the venue, right? So whenever you do get a gig booked, make sure you're posting it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and Snapchat and Twitter or X or whatever, everywhere you possibly can, right? The most important ones that I use are Instagram and Facebook. Tell your friends about it, try to promote it as much as humanly possible. The venue will appreciate it, and the more people you bring to shows, the more likely it is that they're going to book you again. So promote. This probably goes without saying, but you don't want to make yourself look like an idiot, so you better know your songs. I'm not saying they have to be played perfectly note for note, but you should know them well enough to get through the whole song, not have to stop and be like, oh wait, no, I messed this up, and hold on, let me go back and start it over again. Or your job there is to continuously play, unless you're on a break, play songs that people know, play songs that people like to sing along with or whatever, right? Practice, make sure you know your stuff. The next one, you want to be honest with the venue, right? I've reached out to a few venues asking about, getting a gig, and sometimes they ask me, well, do you have a following? Can you bring people? And yeah, it might be tempting to just lie and say, oh yeah, I can bring 30 people. Yeah, don't worry, just book me and I'll bring 30 people. When you're first starting out, maybe your very first gig, people are going to come out to it, right? Like your friends, your family go, oh, it's Dave's first gig, let's go. And it's great, it's awesome. Your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, your 10th gig, especially if it's not in the local area, like if people have to drive maybe half hour, 45 minutes to get to where your gig is or further, they're not going to come out. Don't lie to the venue, because what's going to happen is they might be they might have an extra bartender work that day, or a couple extra servers work that day because they're expecting an extra 30 people that they normally have on that particular night. And then when those 30 people don't show up, you're going to look like an idiot and they're never going to book you again. So be honest. When you're at your gigs, this might be a little bit tough if you're just starting out, but try to be yourself. I make it a point to really only play songs that I genuinely like, but I do think there is validity or value in exploring other genres. I'm not a huge country guy, but I do a lot of gigs in South Jersey, and country music is pretty popular in South Jersey. So I've learned probably 5 to 7 or 8 country songs in my regular set. And then I just recently got asked to do a country festival in September. So I have to learn 2 hours worth of country music. Now, that being said, I am going to learn songs that I genuinely like. I'm going to explore country songs. I'm going to ask for advice from friends who listen to country music. They're going to recommend some songs to me. I'm going to listen to them, and then if I like those songs, then I will learn them. You know, there are some songs in general, not just country songs, but there are some songs in general that I just don't like, so I'm not going to learn to play them. I don't know. I hope I don't get too much flack for this one, but Friends in Low Places from Garth Brooks. I like Garth Brooks. I like everything he stands for. I don't like that song, Friends in Low Places. I've tried to learn it a couple times, but whenever I try to play it, I just don't do it well because I don't believe in it, right? I'm not convincing because I genuinely don't really like that song. If it comes on the radio, I'll skip it. Try to be yourself, be a little bit genuine so you can really kind of sell your performance to your audience. I think that goes a long way. I really do. I think if you can feel it while you're singing to the audience can feel it too. Also, if they know that you're not digging what you're doing, like if you're playing a song that you don't really like, they can feel that too. The next one, which is very, very important, would be networking. Networking is a big, big part of being a musician, a gigging musician, because you want to try to get to know as many people as possible, not just musicians, but servers, bartenders, owners, venue owners, booking agents, whatever, because any connection that you have could possibly get you a gig, and any gig that you play could get you another gig and another gig and another gig. And also, the more people you know that you're friendly with, those people are going to, talk about like how great you are or whatever. Like, so they could be at a party one day, or they could be at like a restaurant or something, and somebody says like, oh, I need a musician for like this weekend or something. Well, they might say, hey, I know a guy. So your network is super important when it comes to being a gigging musician. This one, I'm a little bit guilty of not doing, but it has a lot of value. Play with other musicians. When you play with other musicians, it really increases your musical ability overall. It helps with your timing. It helps with music theory. If somebody says, oh, the chords are, C, G, and E minor, the more you do it, the more you'll be able to hear those chords. The more musicians that you play with or jam with, the more it just benefits you as a musician. I do host an open mic in South Jersey at Little East Tavern in Franklinville. And after we get through the list, we always have like an open jam where anybody can play with anybody, whether you know the person or not. There might be a group of people saying, hey, we're going to do House of the Rising Sun. Do you want to play it? And I'll be like, I don't know it, but, let me get up there. You call out the chords and, you do it enough, you'll eventually learn it. So it's a fun way to kind of expand your musical knowledge, expand your network. So I highly recommend playing with other people, even if your objective is to be like a solo acoustic musician, right? You should still play with other people to kind of work those muscles. The last thing for being a gigging musician is to just not give up. Keep going, right? There's going to be plenty of times where maybe you book a gig and you walk into the room and it's empty, right? You could be playing for just the bartender for maybe the whole 3 hours. Who knows? And it can be really, really depressing to play to empty rooms, but just keep going, keep learning, keep working at it, The more you do it, the better you'll get. The more you do it, the more people will talk about it. The more people talk about it, the more people will come. I would highly recommend just keep going. Patience is one of the biggest things that you have to learn as a gigging musician, because there's lots of times where you might just get so frustrated with the fact that, like, you know, I had 5 friends tell me that they were coming to this show and they didn't. And this is like the second or third or the fourth time that they bailed on me, and it can be frustrating. It's worth it if you just keep going, because you start playing at gigs and then they rebook you, and then that's when scheduling those gigs just it all kind of happens on its own. You'll be getting repeat gigs at the same places. The more you do it, the easier it gets. So be patient, keep chugging along. There is one more quick one that I kind of forgot. Try not to be too focused on one particular thing when it comes to music. And what I mean by that is pursue as many kind of avenues as you want, right? Not only do you do Instagram, but also Facebook and YouTube. Maybe start a YouTube channel similar to this one, or come up with your own niche that you want to educate people about. My point is, you want to try to open up as many possibilities for you to play. If you're trying it in 10 different places, whether you're playing live, doing a YouTube channel, you know, all the social media stuff, and that's too much, then sure, dial it back. I would recommend keeping your mind open, keeping your options open to all the different possibilities of being a musician, right? Maybe you're doing some solo shows, and then you've got another band that's like a duo or a trio or a full band that you're playing with, right? And maybe, you know, you dig that variety. Or maybe you get into like recording and you set up a recording studio in your basement. Maybe you find yourself that you're more into like the booking gigs part of it, so you start to just, you know, start your own booking agency. So if one thing is not quite working out the way you thought it would, you can pivot to something else. The more avenues you have to pursue, the more likely it is that you're going to keep going, or you're going to land on something that you truly, truly are passionate about. I'm really digging this YouTube channel right now, so I'm hoping to kind of create this community of not only musicians, but artists and anybody else who's looking for positivity, motivation. I've got some other things in the works that I'll be announcing soon. If there's anything that I missed, if there's any other gigging musicians out there or musicians in general, feel free to put it in the comments. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And make sure you check back every Tuesday. There's a new long form YouTube video dropping every Tuesday. And also I try to post a motivational short every day. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and I will see you next time.